When Rob and I went down to the Mayher Center for the first time, after hearing about him and seeing a film that Mike Bradford had at his apartment, it was a newsreel and also a birthday type of film of Mayor Baba in 1937. And it struck us of just his manner, his demeanor, and also his authority. And his presence in that film was overwhelming. And we made it a point to decide that we were going to check out Mayor Baba, try to find out as much as we could about him, which we did. We ended up reading a biography of him before we actually went down to the Mayher Center. And our trip to the Mayher Center was an incredible event. It was wonderful to be there and to meet the folks that actually lived at the Mayher Center, the ladies that were there as counselors and as greeters, and the ones that were given the task to introduce folks to Mayor Baba, those who knew him and those who wanted to know more. We had a chance to meet Kitty Davy and Elizabeth Patterson, and also Jane Berry Haynes, three of the most lovely ladies you'd ever want to meet. I took a great interest in meeting Kitty Davy and learning more about her. And she was the type of person that would make you feel that you have hope. Even kids that have the most problems would come into her world, and she would tell them about Mayor Baba and give them the hope that things were going to get better, which they did for me. Those first few years that I went down to the Mayher Center in the mid-70s, she took an interest in me, which I really appreciated, and talked to me. And it was pretty obvious that I, just like anyone else, had their own problems and issues, but she made me feel like Mayor Baba was actually a living force, even though he had already dropped the body. He had already passed on. She made us feel like he was actually he was active at the center. His love was real and was a part of the presence that everyone felt at the center. Still is today, after so many years. I know when Rob was killed, I wrote Kitty and asked her if I could come down to the center. And those days you pretty much had to write a letter to get the okay that it's okay to go down to the center. So I wrote her a letter, and she said, of course, come on. And of course, when you lose your best friend, especially an untimely death like Rob's was, you're at a loss, and there just doesn't seem to be any answers. So I was at a point where I was struggling to accept the fact that Rob was dead. And how could God allow such a thing to happen? Kitty, of course, made me feel that everything has their purpose, how unfortunate that might be, and that regardless of what happened with Rob, that his relationship with Mayor Baba actually made a big difference in his life and his next life. Mayor Baba's cosmology is a statement on why we're actually here, why creation was actually manifested, the reasons why we're alive and we're conscious, and what's gone before us and what's ahead of us. His book, God Speaks, is an account of the mechanics of the universe. It's the journey of one soul throughout the levels of stages of evolution until it reaches the human form. And at that point, consciousness, which has been developing all through those stages of evolution up to the human form, is now full and complete once you're a human being. The only problem is, after billions of years of evolution, the consciousness, which is full, is now burdened with all the dirt that's accumulated along the way, or the mental impressions that one now has to get rid of in order for consciousness to be focused on what's real. And what is real? Baba says our real self is none other than what we consider to be God, our real self. And the reason why we're here on earth, for one reason, the earth is the only place in the universe where a soul can become self-realized, God-realized, according to Meher Baba. The consciousness that we have struggled so hard to attain is the real reason why we're here and have gone through all this stuff, is to develop the consciousness so that we can enjoy our real self once we get past all these mental impressions that are keeping us focused on this world. The impressions themselves, or sanskaras, keep us focused on our bodies and our world around us and our life around us. And actually the principle of ignorance that rules the physical world is called Maya, and it makes everything look real. And it makes us consider everything real. So we as humans consider this to be real, and everything that's in our life has meaning through it. So here's the crux of the situation. We're human. Our consciousness is just focused on ourselves and this world around us. So is there anything else? Is there anything else to life than this world and our physical being and the people around us and the world around us? Is there another world within us? Of course there is. Meher Baba says there's two other worlds. In addition to the physical world, there's the subtle world and the mental world. Those who have entered the path are somewhere on those planes that go through these other worlds, leading up to where God is, or where one can see God. Meher Baba says that there are 7 planes, there are 7 spiritual planes, and those 7 spiritual planes defines the spiritual path, and the spiritual path is something that naturally appears to someone who is obviously ready to return to the source, and return to the source consciously. We're already in the source. Meher Baba says that we're eternally lodged in the Oversoul right now. We're a part of God. We're in God, but we're not conscious of it.